Yes, sir.
All right, I'm working with a little bit of a different system right now. I'm testing everything out. So you're the first. You're popping my cherry, Gene. This is this is it right here, man. So this is the new system I'm working on. So I'm a little bit thrown off by everything, but let's get into it. So Gene, it looks to me like it's game time. The files have dropped and everybody's implicated. Um, the same people that were screaming for so long to release the Epstein files are now screaming they want the arrest. To me, this was all strategy, and this was all gamed out by the Trump operation. As I keep saying to him, blue in the base. How do you feel about that? Do you feel the same way I do?
Yes, absolutely. Trump has got to make it such that the people demand it. He's got to say, "Oh, we're still talking about Epstein. I thought that was long gone. That's a psyop." Now, Pam Bondi's got Pam Bondi saying, "Why are we talking about this? We need look at the Dow. Look at this." The whole team is in this. His whole team. So all of his advisors and his cabinet and everything, because they got to make it so that the American people demand it, and that the Democrats and the libs and all that demand to see the Epstein files and who's in it and this, and get these names unredacted that are not people, that are people that fomented things and did things. They got to make it look that. Otherwise, if Trump was the one to push it, it would look like they would say he's weaponizing it. He's going after his enemies, his political enemies, and cleaning up. He's a dictator. So that's exactly what's happening.
So here's how I kind of look at it, Gene, and I think you do as well with all the guests that I've had on. I've kind of formulated my own theory here. I've had many guests on, Juan O'Sabin being one of them, talking about there will be an executive order that Trump signs that is going to move us as we get closer, or could be soon, of in-person paper ballot elections, safe and secure elections. My theory is right now, he said, the whole Epstein thing is a hoax, and now all these files, this is what he does. He has a brilliant poker face, and he kind of bluffs, and then he releases the Epstein files, which he did. More to come. I heard another 3 million more to come that are even dirtier than the last. So what I'm thinking is, this is drip, 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 flood, right? And so now we're at the point where everyone's demanding justice, arrests, and as we get closer to the midterms, they're going to find out they can't cheat because it's going to be in-person paper ballot. And then that is when, in my opinion, that's when they make their move. Both sides. Both sides make their moves, and the Democrats go for chaos. They know they can't win the midterms, so they're going to just try to upset the apple cart. You got Gavin Newsom already he already rejoined the WHO with California. Other states are following. Other blue states are following. And it almost seems like they want this civil unrest, this civil war, so they can break off from the union. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think all this climaxes right at midterms, and then that's what they're hoping for?
I think they're trying to get it near that. The white hats are trying to get it near that. Of course, the black hats are trying to get that. It's the Podesta plan, where the blue states succeed from the union. The bad generals and admirals and captains and all that in the military break free. They get the military, like they've said, you disobey a legal order, illegal orders, you don't follow illegal orders, all of that. So, the trafficking and all that has been going on for so long. This is pulling people aware of that. It's even going through submarines, through, everything in the military. So this, now we see that just about everybody's in there. I mean, you're talking in the UK, there, Mendelsohn and Starmer, and he has a huge backing by the deep state. He swore he won't step down. He won't, he loves this country. No, he loves going to Epstein Island, and all that other stuff in Epstein's places, the ranch, and in New York City, and all those other things. Just like Mendelsohn, he said, "Oh, it was one time. Oh, no, he's a victim." It's all a game, and it's also the same thing with the trafficking over the border, and that includes getting military fighting men into the country to do the Podesta plan, and then at the same time to get a legal voting system where not just paper ballots, you have to have an ID. And, a lot of people are being stopped on the street and asked in interviews I've seen, like libs and white, young people, they're saying it's not fair to black people, don't know how to get an ID, they can't get an ID. They go into a ghetto area, a black area entirely, and they're asking, black people, and they're saying, yeah, I have an ID, of course, I have driver's license, I have this, I know how to go to get one, I have, that's racist as heck to say that black people are too whatever to get an ID and they don't know how and they don't know where. So this is all tied together. Every bit of this is tied together. So, and the Epstein files, it's just begun. I mean, it is so massive, so huge, so many people are inside this. And it gets so dark and deep and disturbing and disgusting that I don't see how they can show the level of depth of how evil and disgusting these people are. But it's going to go all the way to many, many heads of state. Pretty much all of Norway's royal family is in it. I mean, they're pretty much gone. Most all of the royals will eventually be gone. You've got some of the Saudis, including many that MBS executed in the Night of Many Knives. That's gone. They took care of a lot of their problems, but there's still some of the Sikhs and that stuff in it. And, it's going to hit the entire world and clean the world. You've got Zelensky in there. I mean, you've got just everybody's in this thing. So, yes, I totally agree with you.
So do you think that citizens will start taking this into their own hands? I would imagine, they're mad enough to protest ICE. If they keep looking through these files and seeing what they're doing to babies and things like that, I would imagine, not just conservatives, but the liberals are going to unite over this and say, you know what? No way, not on my watch. And they're going to start camping out in front of these people's houses and demand justice and hunt these people down, man. Like they say on the boards, they won't be able to walk the streets.
Yeah, not only that, but you're looking at most of the music industry, a big, huge part of the entertainment industry, the Hollywood. I don't see how Hollywood can even survive it. All of them were going, sold their souls, most of them. And then you're looking at, like most of the rap stars and all of that, even in the sports industry, the NFL, a lot of the big players and all of that goes. So you're looking at a lot of people and a lot of things. Their heroes, the people they've looked up to, there's a lot of movies that I used to love. I can't watch them anymore unless I turn the sound off. I can't stand to hear the person's voice, and in some cases, certain people, I can't, like in the person in K-Pax, if the people know who I mean, and persons in Mystic River and, Big and all those, and Castaway. I can't stand to even see those people anymore because I know what they did over there, and I know what they've been doing all over the world, and it's just... And
they're supposed to be listed in the next drop, from what I'm hearing. What are you hearing about that? Because a lot of these big name actors, a lot of people, I haven't heard the names of the likes of like Tom Hanks yet. We all heard it in the back channels, but I don't know if anyone's brought their names out to light from the Epstein files. They've got to be terrified. They got to know that this is coming.
Well, you've already seen Lady Gaga, Mr. Gaga, and Madonna, and DiCaprio, and a few of those people in them already. So they're starting already, and that's how they do it. Like you said, drip, 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 and then it starts going drip, 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 drip. Pretty soon the faucet's running full blast, and then you have a fire hose in your face. That's where we're headed.
Man, I think, I keep thinking about this. I keep trying to war game this in my mind, and I just feel like this is 100% strategy, Gene. The fact that Trump came out and he had that poker face and he bluffed and said, it's a hoax. He had them demand the Epstein files because they thought he was in them. They thought he was in, and he is. He's named in it, but he's named as an FBI informant.
Yeah, he's named that, Epstein said he didn't like him at all. He's the most dangerous man. Well, yeah, to him and to them, he is. And he's been on this. He kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, emptied his locker, told him to come get his stuff, check it's all there, sign for it. He got him arrested, all of this. He's been, fighting the human trafficking, putting in executive orders in his first term, let alone now, his second term or his third term. So it's just, well gamed out. It's incredibly well gamed out.
And now the 2020 stuff is coming out. Now I've heard Tulsi Gabbard walked over the evidence, tons of evidence, to the White House, hand delivered them to Trump, is what I'm hearing. Have you heard anything about this? And if that's the case, we know that dam's about to break next. So it's going to break what, simultaneously? And it has to be this year and it has to be soon because it has to be before midterms.
Yeah, it all has to come out. And that's what I understand too. Not only that, it's the same thing. To get people to demand the arrest of people like Obama, the Clintons, incarceration, going into prison, all of this, going to trial. Of course, we know most of them already have, but for the general public to demand that and demand to see it and demand proof of it. So that's where we're headed with all of this. And it will even walk its way into disclosure and the stuff they're hiding, because Epstein was in everything. So he's in the cover-up of the technologies and all of that, and the medbeds and the high-end technologies, the plasma technologies like they used on MH370, the advanced AI, all of this is involved. They've had that for decades, and they've been using it for decades, along with and you can see that in the Epstein files. It already talks about looking glass wars in the Epstein files. So that's
looking glass, the technology to be able to look into the future or timelines.
Yes, that's in the Epstein file. There's an email talking about looking glass wars.
Looking glass wars.
Yes, wars.
Can you explain that to me, to my audience? What is a looking glass war?
Well, looking glass, that's not actually its name as an operation, but that's what the general public knows, is a technology that came from the downing of the several craft like the one in Roswell, which was debatable if that's a downing or a Trojan horse. And so to get the technologies so that they could look into the future, and then they can game out and see what's coming, and then they can actually bend space and time now, so they can go to the future and stop things that have happened from happening as they're happening, and reset the timelines, change the timelines. Tesla was doing this. Tesla actually traveled to timelines and actually became other people. I've talked about this before. He became Snowden. He became I think it's Ingersoll Rand. I'm not sure, but anyway, there's quite a few people that he was involved with to get this timeline that we're on, so that they would never see it coming. The deep state, the cabal, and they can't stop it. And
so is that why Trump is so successful? Because we know that his family confiscated or his uncle John, I think it was, confiscated a lot of Tesla's documents.
Oh, yes. And it goes back further than that. With his family was originally in the German areas. I think Bavaria and those areas, and there and other areas where Ingersoll Rand was sent by Lincoln. And the family was known as the Drumpf family, D-R-U-M-P-F. And so they've been involved against the deep state, had a war against the deep state even back then, during the time of Lincoln. Like I said, when it started forming, and the White Hat started forming under Lincoln, especially with his assassination. And so it just has been growing and growing until they had all the technology and everything in place, including the looking glass. So that's in the Epstein files about the looking glass wars, where they're looking forward in time and changing things so that certain things happen and certain things don't happen. And with the technology to bend space and time, that too, then they can actually go forward in time or back in time and change events. The deep state's been doing that for a long time. However, at a certain time, come about 2017, and actually in 1987, they saw the timelines skew suddenly into two timelines only. And they're like, they got some experts to come in and go through the algorithms. And they said, if you don't stop it by, I think it was 2000 and I don't remember the date, but anyway, it was long ago, you won't be able to. It will happen, and every time they try to, it upped the probability of not being able to be stopped. In other words, the Great Awakening. And the Great Awakening is way more than what most people think. But, it's like same thing with the medbeds is when that technology comes out, it's going to destroy big pharma. So, I mean, a lot of people are approaching me and other people, like I'm sure like 107 gets demanded. I know you're in contact with the Alliance. I'm not in contact. They contact me once in a while. They come get me 1 or 2 times to do certain things. So, but I don't have access to them to go get med beds for people. People are, I know you can. No, I can't. I'm not. I'm not. Part of the alliance. There are people I think that are like Colonel Bossy, just on the outside edges of it. So there are people that are involved, and people also have to realize in this war against the deep state that has been entrenched inside everything. It just has. That's why Epstein is everything. It's inside everything. You're talking a war that goes back millennia, and they have controlled this world. And this is now the time of the war between dark and evil, and this is it. It's a battle for the soul of humanity, this planet, life on this planet, the whole kit and caboodle. And so when you look, like Colonel Bossy said, you look at the White Hat's consideration for the average citizen, 0. No consideration. They're fighting under hundreds.
Well, that's why they harm children, because they have 0 regard for human life.
No, I'm talking the White Hats.
The White Hats. Okay.
Can they help you with a medbed? Can they do? No, they do not have time. They're way outnumbered. They have to pick their battles. They're fighting in hundreds of dumps. They're cleaning out. They're rescuing children. They're bringing this stuff out, but it's got to come out one step at a time. It's got to be counter moves every single time to what the White Hats know the dark hats possible choices of what they're going to do. It's a game theory. It's gamed all out. You can't go and sit there and billions of people want a med bed. They don't have time at this time to do that. Yes, they're close to ending it all, and we're seeing it speed up now really fast, but we're not near to that time. I would love to have a med bed myself. I have issues I could be helped with. I'm sure most people do. So, on that, for those asking me, I don't, and I wish I did.
So, Gene, it seems to me like we're in this race for the battle of timelines for 2030. Why is 2030 such a monumental, pivotal year?
For my understanding, it's the time of the shift between where the 2 timelines completely split apart. Like
2012, or I mean,
I heard. No, that was the old one, and that has been changed. That was the CME was made not to happen in 2012, as per what the Mayans kind of said, the changing of time. And so that was done by the Galactic Alliance to give humanity more time. And so now they have the time, so 2030 is that time. At that time, the 2 timelines pull apart, and the people we see doing all this stuff, we won't see. They'll be gone. For the most part, all of them be gone.
So when you say they'll be gone by 2030, do you feel the arrests happen in 2026 and then the executions happen, or do you think this happens in 2030? Do you have to wait that much longer?
I think it'll be like we see with these files. It'll be here one, there one. Then people will say, we want to see Obama. We want to see, so-and-so.
Right.
So then they'll get that one. Then they see more people, and they see people that really upset them. Then it'll be drip, 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 drip. And
that is why the Epstein files are so important, because it's going to get everyone united against these demons. And then once they know what these people really do, it's going to be crimes against humanity, as they've always said on the boards.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine half of what they've done. I mean, it never would have occurred in my worst nightmare to do anything that anybody would even do something like some of these things to the babies and the children. It's just so disgusting. It's so evil and so beyond. I'm just like, I mean, some of it's just so sickening. Like they're talking now about, I have a jerky walking beside me, and then they take boat with the jerky, and they take the feet off, and then they take the innards out, and they eat that, including what's inside them. I'm like, oh my gosh, how sick are you? What I mean,
the only explanation I have is that this is real life, good versus evil, and they're demons. They're
Yes.
demons.
Yeah.
That's not like, oops, I messed up. Can you forgive me? That's like demonic energy. That's purely from hell. That's from hell.
Yeah. That's purely the satanic. It's not kind of their Satanists. It's absolute. And every single one of them have got to have possession. They have got to give in their soul and have multiple demons in them.
Yeah, multiple.
Yeah, because to do this stuff, you've got to be. I mean, some of them, you look at their pictures, like the Rothschilds, Jimmy Savile. You look at some of these people, and they look pure freaking evil. But others, they're good at hiding it.
So, Gene, let me pivot just for a second. I wanted to cover a lot of topics here because you're a very interesting guy, and you have a lot of intel. So, what about? I don't know if you heard about what happened here in El Paso with the lockdown. The airspace was locked down, and I heard it was a drone that breached airspace here in El Paso. But now I'm hearing all kinds of wild conspiracies that actually it was UFOs and this and that. And have you got any intel on that to clarify for me? Because I've heard from very credible people that it was a cartel drones, and I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to stay in that lane. That's where I think it. That's what I thought it was, or think it is. But have you heard anything contrary to that?
It's more than that. You're having drone wars too.
Well, yeah, I know that. That's what I'm saying. We're having drone wars, but that's what it was, right?
Yeah, it was a cartel drone, and from my understanding, the Golden Dome took it down. The Golden Dome's functioning. It's worldwide. It's only over the U.S. right now.
I've heard that as well. Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't just bring drones down. It can like they went in and got Maduro. It can make weapons useless. It can make super soldiers can't even be shot with a bullet. You aim a multi-repeating rifle, something that's shooting 100 rounds a minute or something at somebody, and nothing even hits them because it can do. And missiles go up, or they can't even be released. People get sick, they bleed, they throw up. I mean, it's got all kinds of technology. It's sending in plasma bursts into the dumps to clean them up, and once it's removing people from the dumps, children and all that, then it's removing technology from the dumps. It's sending deep state to the Armageddon line, and then it's leaving some of the stuff and just vaporizing it, and they come in and rebuild. So it's also it's a free energy system through the quantum. So you'll have instant technology, ability to travel anywhere on Earth and even beyond. Plus, you'll have communications without any G. It'll be quantum entanglement. So that is, all this air pollution, that'll be gone. It also has the ability, you look at your movies like Stargate SG-1, that was disclosure when they had the replicators disintegrated by ancient technology. They have that. That is for real. And they can sit there and dial it up and destroy the stuff planet-wide, in the earth, in the ground, in the water, in the air, everywhere. I mean, the chemtrails are still going like crazy. People go, same like the medical. Why don't they just stop it? Again, the people have got to get up and demand it. It's not just stop it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going, you would think with Trump being in office that it would change. It's not. I'm seeing more chemtrails, to be honest with you, over El Paso. It's sickening. And then there's a huge haze over the whole entire city.
Yeah, we're silvery skies. Same thing here. Over the Rocky Mountains, same thing.
So it seems like they're getting ready to push this disclosure, this alien card thing. Looks like it could flop, Gene. I don't know if they're going to be able to accomplish this. It looks like Trump's going to get ahead of the ball and disclose it first. Is what I think they're doing here.
That's what Three Eye Atlas is about. This is a white hat operation in which, I know a lot of people that have been at this for 30 years. I think you know who I'm talking about, are saying it's Anunnaki or da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
They just neutralized Three Eye Atlas and the group with it, neutralized a Draco mothership. That would not be Anunnaki doing that. So this,
So they're here to help. You're saying Three Eye Atlas is here to help?
Yes.
So that's kind of like okay, so then we can get into that conspiracy, the Galactic Federation. So that's what, to help us, assist us in our evolution, into our ascension into what? The Galactic Federation here? I mean, What are they
Yes.
helping? Why are they helping us? Why are they ready? Because so this now went into a different direction, but let's talk about it.
They're assisting us by removing the blocks that have been on us forever, for millennia, that are holding us back and holding us down, like holding us like a beach ball underneath the water. They're removing all that Draco, mind control and all that other garbage. And eventually, as people demand the chemtrails, that also is part of the mind control and the HARP and all that. All that will be demanded by the people. They'll game it out, same like they're doing the Epstein files and everything else.
So this really is the war for 2030. This is a race. This is a race for that year. That year is the pivotal year, and the timelines, are they converging as well? Are they blending? Is that why we're having the Mandela effect?
Yes. I mean, I'm here seeing little glitches. Like I was at my chiropractor, and he was at his desk, and I saw him going, into the storage room. Just get up and go in the storage room across a little hallway, and it was dark, and the light didn't come on. And then I looked back at the desk with just checked my eyes. He's still at the desk. I'm like, he can't move that fast. No, nobody moves that fast unless they move sideways and die. I'm like, okay, like the cat in Matrix. Okay, that was a timeline glitch. As the timelines collapse into just the only two, as they start to diverge, they collapse right back in now. So you have these little glitches, but there's only two timelines right now. And anything, choices that diverge, it'll collapse right back in really fast. And so,
So right now, these last 5 years, or 26, 27, 28, 5 years that we're going, 4 years, whatever, that we're going into 2030. This is the race for. This is for all of humanity right here. This is for all the marbles. This is it. This is like.
Yes. From my understanding and what I've been knowing since I woke up to all this back in 1990, I knew that date, 2030, 2031, somewhere right in there. Since 2031, I actually did a radio broadcast in Honolulu on the radio talking about the CME in 1990.
And the coronal mass ejection.
Yeah, full out, not a solar flare, the entire corona of the sun.
So if we have a solar flare that takes down the grid, and is that going to happen anyway, or is that, what timeline is that on? The bad timeline? I mean, is that the negative timeline? Does that also happen on the good time?
Separates the timelines.
Ah, that's right. So it kind of breaks into two dimensions?
Yep. It depends on where somebody's focused. If you're like somebody that's vengeful and got darkness in your heart, anger, lack of compassion, lack of service to others, you're all about yourself and money and power and wealth, or getting fame, or getting vengeance, or that kind of thing. Those 3 days are going to be literally like you descended into the pit. It'll be horrific beyond belief, and then you'll wind up on Armageddon, and that what you just went through will be just the beginning. Or if you're compassionate and loving, you'll have it literally seem like angels lift you up. It's going to be beautiful. You see amazing things. You see changes, and then after that, things will just be way better, and things will be nice, and very few. There will be still some issues as people work themselves out, but overall, it'll be just what essentially like returning to Eden.
So let me ask you this, Gene. So I've only heard that this technology was in the possession of the black hats, and then the white hats somehow intercepted it or got their own technology. So when you say looking glass wars, did the white hats just get this technology, and since we're winning, is the white hats technology superior? Or did they confiscate the black hat technology? How did this happen?
Well, just like they realized especially with Trump, with Kennedy, they have to infiltrate, just like the deep state. Everything the deep state had, they had to infiltrate it. Up into the high level of the Masons, 33rd degree, and the Olympians, as they call themselves, the Illuminati, as they're known to the public. They have to infiltrate it. So there are some people that had to do some incredibly disgusting things to them to get in there. And so once they get in, like Trump said, I was an insider. I can imagine he's in that boat too. He did some things he really didn't want to do that were pretty disgusting to him. But then they got all in there, and they got the technologies, all of the technologies, the mind wipe technology, the time travel technology, the looking glass technology, all of this, so that then they could use it against the deep state and clean this world out.
Okay, so so it looks like we're winning. It looks like we're winning. To the
That's
negative forces, what's that?
Understatement. Nothing can stop what's coming.
Okay, but to the other side, if this is truly going to happen and we're going to get hit with a solar flare and it's going to break off, humanity is going to have two courses that it goes. The timelines are going to go into their own different directions. So does the other side think they're winning right now? Does that make, am I making sense here?
They're scared out of their minds. They're freaking out, just like with Epstein. They are freaking out because everything they can do. You saw what Trump said at the WEF this year.
Right, yeah, he delivered a massive blow to them at Davos.
And quite a few other people did too. Trump said the world order that they had planned is done, and globalism is done, and your stuff and all of this is done. And at the meetings and the luncheons and that, you still have all their minions talking about the chemtrailing and they're clueless. Same like the leaders in the EU, Van der Leyen. They're all just a bunch of talking heads. They're essentially clueless. Kallis, Merz, all of them, Macron, and the stuff will come out with Macron and his husband, wife, whatever you want to call it, relative, whatever. All of this stuff is going to come out. People are just going to go, oh,
yeah.
Just put it mildly, real mildly.
I don't think, I've heard stories when I was boxing about people doing some stuff that I could not believe. And that was before anybody was, awake at that time. So when I would talk about it, I had friends that even tell me today that are calling me now because of the Epstein files. And they're like, dude, you were right about everything. And these are dudes, these are friends, close friends of mine that I call normies, that I told them, I brought this up to them in 2008, 2009, 2010, and they're like, Dave's crazy. Okay, Dave, whatever. And now that it's all playing out right now, I'm getting calls.
Yep. I used to get the, roll the eyes, hand up in front of your face. We're not talking about this crazy conspiracy stuff anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not patting myself on the back. Yeah, screw it, I am. Also, I wanted to talk to you about the natural disaster. So we know, okay, if a solar flare hits us, I guess that's a natural disaster. But what about earthquakes, volcano activity? I've heard from different guests, Stuart Swerdlow being one of them, that we're being bombarded with gamma rays right now from another star system that the star exploded, and we're getting hit with the gamma rays. I don't know if you've heard anything about this. I wanted to clarify with you.
Those happen quite frequently, actually.
Okay.
Be surprised how frequently that happens because the universe is infinite. So the fact that they get here sooner or later and it happens, and you have that happen where a star, novas or something like that, or turns into a black hole or any of those above and emits gamma rays. But you also have red sky events where the Alliance, way down into I think New Mexico, southern Colorado, Arizona, they were seeing the aurora borealis.
Yeah, I have friends that saw it in Alabama.
Yeah, and so that's red sky events where they are, that's the Golden Dome. And they're tuning things up and changing things and, getting control of technologies of the deep state, like they took control of Palantir and the Colossus, which is tied to Colossus, which is tied to Genesis, and they're using it to blackmailing the Cabal. It's like, I got all this information, and if you don't want it put out all over the internet, including in front of your family and your friends, and and show all the dirty stuff you're doing. And yeah, I know about this secret offshore accounts and all of this, and I can make that all go away. You're going to do X, Y, Z, and you're going to do it today.
Okay, but hold on. I've also heard not just natural disasters, but I mean, they have technologies to cause natural disasters, to cause high frequency, these massive seismic 8.0s, 7.0 earthquakes.
Absolutely.
Just like the LA fires. The LA fires was a weapon. So do they have weapons to cause these, I mean, earthquakes in certain parts like LA or other places in California or other places around the world? Is that, I mean, are they going to be using that technology?
For decades.
But I mean, would they use it at the right time, like this year?
Yeah, like the big earthquake off Kamchatka was Russia agreed with the U.S. to take out the huge dump off of Kamchatka and under Kamchatka. Now, just today in Japan, off the coast of Japan, another one is being taken out. So you have this ongoing situation, and there's ones in Russia right now. So, you always want to look for your signature, 10Ks at 10,000 kilometers or 33,300 feet because they love that number.
Yeah.
And so you have one in, Russia, you have one in Japan, and they're continuing to do that, to use those to take out the dumps as well.
Could we see any kind of events happen this year, next year, where they take out something like the Golden Gate Bridge, landmarks in them? I've heard a lot of chatter about the Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about that's a target. It's going to go down.
Well, that would be the black hats. I don't think the white hats will go there.
Right, but do you see? Is that a possibility?
It's a possibility. There's lots of things possible that they could do, but usually the white hats get in front of the big stuff. So, like, they were.
But will it be necessary to wake people up? Is what I'm asking, or is the Epstein files doing that by himself?
Oh, Epstein files, and then there's other things coming that will do that as well by itself, like the collapse of China, the CCP, and breaking into 9 to 10 different separate countries or provinces. There's rebellion like crazy. They're missing. It turns out 80% of their warheads are water. There's no warhead, it's water. And the fuel in the missile is water.
How does that even happen? I don't understand.
Yeah, the corruption of their military. That's why the high general, and all that tried to do a coup, which was part of a plan to reveal the black hats within the CPC for Xi. And Xi is a white hat. So they're revealing everything. They're going to break it up, and then it'll come back together and coalesce with Malaysia and Indonesia and other parts as a kind of a federation, just like the U.S. will do with Venezuela, Cuba, South America, Greenland, Canada. We already see referendums in Alberta and quite a few other, I think Manitoba, Saskatchewan, British Columbia want to go that route too. So probably Alberta will be the first one to go to the U.S. as 51st state. The Greenland is like, man, is that you can see through the ice. They have the technology to see through the ice. Yet you go to Google Earth and you see nothing but white. And